Hello guys, welcome to the next lecture, and in this video we'll be talking about tree data structure, and we'll begin by introducing the tree basic terminology, the types of trees that exist. Then we'll concentrate our discussion on the binary trees for the remainder of the lecture, and towards the end we'll talk about the applications of binary tree as well. So let's begin with what is a tree. First of all, let me answer that. So tree is a data structure which is similar to a linked list, but instead of each node pointing simply to the next node in a linear fashion, in the case of tree, each node points to a number of nodes. So tree is an example of non-linear data structure. A tree is a way of representing the hierarchical nature of a structure in a graphical form, as you can see it on the screen right now. This is a tree. The first element, which has got no parent, is always called as the root node, and subtrees are the trees which are pointed to by any node. So if this node is pointing towards the node B and B further has got a tree down under, then this will be called as a subtree of node A. And similarly, this is a subtree of node A. This is also a subtree of node A. If I ask you, is there a subtree for D? Yes, there is a subtree for D because there are nodes under it as well. So the trees which lie one level down to the asked node will be called as the subtrees. Leaf nodes are the nodes which do not have child. That means the last node on tree will be the leaf node. So here we have got E, F, J, H and I, 5 nodes that do not have any children. Therefore, these are the leaf nodes. Path means if there is a connection from the root to the asked node, the node that you're looking for example H in this case, then if there are edges that take you from root to that particular node, then the edges that you have traversed is called as the path. So path to H is A, D and H. Ancestor nodes, if I'm looking for the ancestor of F, then if there is a path from root to F, then whatever number of nodes are there in that path will be called as the ancestors of F. Right? So see, here also, if I'm looking for the ancestors of F, if it has a path from the root, then whatever nodes are there in the path will be the ancestors of F. And descendants of a node means if there is a node below which there are certain nodes and there is a path up till the leaf node, then whatever comes from that node up till the leaf node will be called as the descendant node. Right? So G and J are the descendants of C. Levels actually represent that what all nodes lie on the same level. For example, B, C and D lie on the same level and they will be now called as siblings. Right? So this is the parent, these are the children, right? And among themselves, because they lie in the same level, they will all be called as siblings. Now level and height or depth are two different things. Here level is representing that what all nodes are there in a particular level which starts from level 0. Root is always at level 0. But if I am asking you the height, height will be level plus 1. So height of this tree is 3 plus 1, that is 4. That means this is height 1, here it is height 2, height 3, height 4. Height can also be called as depth. So some books refer to height as depth and some books refer to it as height. So height of a node is the length of the path from that node to the deepest node. So height of a tree is the length of the path from the root to the deepest node. So the deepest node is J and root is A. So you simply find the path and whatever number of nodes are there in the path is equal to the height or depth of that particular tree. Degree means that how many children are there for a particular node. Right? For example, root has got a degree 3 because there are 3 children to the root node. Types of trees, the simplistic one is the general tree. Now in general tree, we do not have any restriction. The only condition that it follows is that every node has got a parent, but the root node doesn't have a parent. And any node can have any number of children. There is no restriction on that, and therefore it is difficult to implement because there is no upper bound to how many children can a node have. given set of 20 elements where there is just one root and 19 other elements are the at level 1, and some might draw a diagram which represent the same 20 element from root to level 0 to level 1 to level 2 and in many other levels. So there is no restriction on a general tree, therefore it is difficult to implement such trees. Forest is a collection of disjoint union of trees, which means that general trees collectively form a forest, right? So it is a general tree in itself, it's a general tree in itself, and all three combined are called as the forest. So forest can also be called as a ordered set of 0 or more general trees. Binary tree is a general tree with some restriction. First one is the same, that the root node cannot have parents. The restriction over here is that each node can have 0, 1 or 2 children only and not beyond that. So a tree is called binary if each node has 0 child, 1 child or 2 children. Empty tree is also a valid binary tree. The one that is lying towards the left hand side is called as the left child, and the node that is lying towards the right hand side is called the right child. And all the subtrees also follow the binary restrictions. Binary search tree is one of the applications of binary tree. Okay, and we will discuss about the binary search tree in the next video. So just for the introduction, what is a binary search tree? So you can see the difference between binary tree and binary search tree. I have used the same structure over here, but the values are differing. So in binary tree, you had just one restriction, that you cannot have more than 2 children. In binary search tree, you have the restriction that you cannot have more than 2 children. That is one thing, because it has to be a binary tree. Fine. The other restriction is that the value of the node that you are asking, towards the left hand side of these nodes should be a value which is less than the node. Towards the right hand side, you should have values that is more than the node, right? So it is also called as the ordered binary tree. For example, B is the node over here. So towards the left hand side, we can have only values that are smaller than B. So A comes before B. In that respect, I kept A over there. D comes after B. So D is on the right hand side. From D, if you see, then C comes before D, so it is on the left hand side, and E is there on the right hand side. If you check the root node F, towards the left we have got A, B, C, D, E, which all are lesser than F, right? So binary search tree has got a restriction that towards the left subtree we can have the values which are smaller than the node, and towards the right subtree we can have values which are larger than the node. Another application of binary tree is the expression tree, because you know the operators that we have are mostly the binary operators, and these binary operators, when used in any equation, that equation can be represented, or that expression can be represented in the form of a tree, and expression tree finds its utility in the compilers a lot. So binary trees are useful in implementing the expression trees as well. So let's see how the expression tree is getting created. So here few things that you have to keep in mind, that if the expression is A minus B plus C into D, then all the operands A, B, C and D will always be at the leaf node. And all the operators will be there in the internal nodes and the root node. The root node operator is the operator which in the equation will be operated upon at the last. Means the operator with the least precedence will be the root. Okay. For example, here there are 3 operators: minus, plus, multiplication. Multiplication has a higher precedence, but the precedence in this equation will be managed by the brackets. So here this minus sign has got a precedence, this multiplication has got a precedence, and the last operator that you can perform is plus. Therefore plus has to be at the root. Whichever thing is there on the left hand side of the plus will be on the left hand side tree or left subtree. Whatever is there on the right side will be on the right subtree. Right? So let's see an example. If this is the expression, then how many operators are there? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 operators. In these 7 operators, which is the operator with the least precedence? So since brackets are defining the precedence here as well, so here plus, multiplication, exponentiation and minus have got the first preference. Then in the second preference, this subtraction would be evaluated, then this division would be evaluated, and at the last this modulus sign will be evaluated. So we have found our root. The root is modulus. Towards the left hand side, whatever expression is there will become the left child, and the right hand side expression will become the right child. Now look into this expression. In this expression there are 3 operators. Here minus is the operation that will be performed at the last. Here division is the operation that will be performed at the last. So out of these 2 expressions, the node here would be division and the node here would be subtraction. So I have made them nodes. Whatever lied towards the left hand side of the subtraction is now in this left subtree, and whatever lies in the right side is in the right subtree. And similar is the case over here. Now from here you can take out the operators, because the condition is all the operands should be the leaf nodes and intermediate nodes should be the operators. Now since you have got one operator per node, so you can make them as a node and the leaf nodes would be the operands. So this way you can create a expression tree for any given expression. So we have already discussed about the what are root nodes, subtrees, leaf node, path, ancestor nodes, descendant nodes, label, numbers and degrees. Now let's talk about a few more things. In a binary tree we have got in degrees and out degrees. In degrees means that how many parents do you have. So you have just got one parent, so the link that is coming towards a node is 1. In case of root node you don't have any in degree. Out degrees is the number of children that you can have, right? So there is a restriction on the out degree, you cannot have more than 2. Parent is the name given to the node which is one level up as compared to the asked node. So there is no parent to root, but 2's parent is 1 and 3's parent is 1. 6's parent is 3, 7's parent is 3. Branch, it is any path that leads to the leaf. For example, if I talk about the path 1, 3, 6 and 10, so it is leading to the node which is the leaf node, therefore it is called as a branch. But if I am talking about a path at 1, 3 and 6, then this is a path but not a branch. Siblings, so all the nodes that lie on the same level are called the siblings. The links that is connecting the 2 nodes is called the edge. Depth and height, it is the length of the path from the node to the deepest node. Or if I am talking about the height of the tree, then length of the deepest node from the root node. So the deepest node from the root node is 1, 3, 6 and 10. 10 is the deepest node. So the number of nodes that we have are 4. So the depth or height here also is equals to 4. Similar trees are the trees with a similar structure but different values, and copies are the trees with the same exact copy with same exact values. Now, general tree to binary tree, how do we convert any tree to a binary tree? So in general tree, only restriction is that root cannot have parents, and then there is no restriction on the children, but binary has got a restriction. So what I'm supposed to do is, there are 3 rules to follow. Whatever is there on the left hand side of the node should be retained as it is, right? And now since it can have multiple child, so you cannot decide which one to opt as the right child, right? So you will break all these links, and all these siblings would be connected as the right child of the sibling towards the left hand side. Let's see how do we do that. So we have removed all the links, all the siblings are connected horizontally, all the left connections are kept. Fine. So the rule 1 is root of the binary tree. Root of the binary tree is same as the root of the general tree. Left child of a node in the binary tree is equals to the left child of the node in the general tree. So all the left childs are maintained. And right child of a node in the binary tree is equals to the right sibling of the node in the general tree. So right sibling, B sibling was C. So this becomes the right hand child of the node B. Fine. So if I redraw this diagram, so it will look somewhat like this. So A has got a left child, B has got a left child E and a right child C. So B has got a left child E and the right child as C. If you look at C, C has got a left child G and right child as D. D has got H and H has got a right child I. Here E has got a right child F. So in this way, any general tree can be converted to the binary tree. Complete binary tree is a tree which says that every level except the last level should be completely filled. Even the last level can be completely filled, but if it is not filled, not a problem, but all the previous levels should be completely filled. And whenever you are filling it, always fill from the extreme left side. So it is not possible, a tree will not be called as a complete binary tree if any of the node of the left hand side is not existing. So you have to populate it from the left hand side. So 1, the first child it has is 2, then 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Here you can take this as values, and also you can take this numbering in the order in which these nodes are added to the tree. Right? So this is the first node, the second node, third node, then fourth node. So every time in every level, I'm starting from the extreme left and then populating it through the right hand side. Fine? And every level has got a restriction also. The restriction is that how many number of nodes can you have? So in level 1, you can have how many number of nodes? 2 raised to the power d minus 1. So d is what? D is the depth. Right? So at level 0, depth is 1. Or height is 1. So 2 raised to the power 1 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. So at depth 1 you can have just one node. At depth 2 you can have 2 raised to the power 2, that is 4 minus 1, 3 nodes. So if I am talking about a tree with depth 2, then it will have 3 nodes, 1, 2 and 3. And similarly, if I am talking about a tree with binary tree with 3 depth, then the total number of nodes it can have is 2 raised to the power 3 minus 1, that is 7 number of nodes, right? And if I have got a tree with 7 nodes and if I want to calculate the depth, then the depth is the log base 2 of n plus 1. How is it? If you calculate the log base 2 of 7, so it will be 2 point something, because log base 2 of 8 is equals to 3. So log base 2 of 7 will be something which is lesser than 3. So 2 point something, and if we take the floor function, then 2 would be taken as the integer. 2 plus 1 is equals to 3. So the depth is 3. Alright. So this formula is of importance in complete binary tree. So every level has got n is equals to 2 to the power d minus 1 nodes, but not the last node. So this condition is written as at most. If I am talking about the tree of depth 1, 2, 3, 4, then the maximum number of nodes it can have is 2 raised to the power 4, that is 16, 16 minus 1, 15. But here we have got only 12 nodes, so 3 nodes are still missing because we have not completed the nodes towards the right hand side. So it is fine. The maximum number of nodes that we can have is given by this formula. Any number of nodes which are less than this node is fine. But what is important, that at the previous level, if we leave out the last level, then up till here it should follow n equals to 2 raised to the power d minus 1. So one more observation that you will take from the complete binary tree is that if this is at the first location in the memory, then the left child will be at the second location, which is 2 times of 1. The left child of 2 will be at the fourth location, which is twice of this node. So left child are always represented by twice the value. So if my node number is k, then left child will be 2k. The right child will always be 2k plus 1. Why? Because we are having an order of putting the nodes into this tree. It is always from left to right. Fine. So it is the first location, second location, third location, fourth location. The fourth location becomes the child of 2. And it goes by the formula twice of the k. So if my node is k is equals to 2, so the left child would be 4. Now in extended binary tree, the condition is that you cannot have one child. Either you have 0 child or you have 2 child. If there is any tree that has one child, then in that case you have to create one more node in order to make it 2 children, right? So nodes having 2 children are called as the internal nodes, and the nodes that do not have any children will be called as the external nodes. To convert a binary tree into an extended tree, every empty subtree is replaced by a new node, and this new node will be called as the external node. Now let's talk about the representation of the binary trees using the linked list. So in the beginning of the talk itself, I said that it is quite similar to the linked list, but the difference is that tree is following an hierarchical architecture and a link is connected to many other nodes, but in linked list a node is connected to another node in a sequential or linear fashion. So here each node will be represented by a set of values. The set of values in the middle is the data, that is 1, and towards the left hand side we have got a pointer that points towards the address of the left child, and towards the right hand side we have got a pointer that points towards the address of the right child. So the structure that we define for the binary tree node is this node has got a pointer towards the left child, data, and a pointer towards the right child. Similarly, all the nodes will be populated in this fashion. So my binary tree which is given over here would look somewhat like this. So each node or circle is now represented by the node, and along with it I have attached the assumed addresses of the nodes that it has got in the memory. So the value of this node is 1, and the left child is 6x, the right child is 9x. So it starts pointing towards the 6x and 9x. The value over here is 2 and the value over here is 3. This points towards 3x and 5x. So 3x to 5x would be populated, and in this fashion you will be populating all the values. But you have to keep in mind that if you do not have a right child or a left child, then you write the null values over there, right? See, it doesn't have a right child, so there is a null value. Fine. The leaf nodes doesn't have a child, so left, right, both the ways we will be writing the null values. In memory we see then these are the nodes which are having data and the pointers, and the first node we always point with a special variable or a pointer which is the root. If I am representing my binary tree as array, so in array representation again this formula comes into picture. If I have got a tree of depth 4, then the maximum number of nodes that it can have is given by this formula. So a depth 4 we can have 2 raised to the power 4 is 16 minus 1 15 nodes, right? So we can initialize an array of size 15 so that if this tree later on grows, it should have space in the array where it can store the values of the node. The root of the tree will be stored in the first location and the left child in the subsequent location, and so on and so forth. So root has got a place at this location. If you remember, we said that the left child is always at the twice of k and the right child is always at the twice of k plus 1, right? So the left child of A is B, so where should B be stored? Since A is at index 1, the twice of 1 is 2, so B should come over here. And similarly, C should come at twice of 1 plus 1, that is 3. Now if D, you want to store D, where should it be stored? So B is, D is the left child of B, therefore the B's location is 2, it should come at 4, then E should come at 5, similarly F and G, and after that you will see that the D is supposed to have children over here, but this is not a complete binary tree, it doesn't have children, so we have left those two spaces. H being the left child of E, so the address of E is 5, so H can take a place with 10 index value, and I can take a place with 11 index value. So in this way, I can use an array to represent the binary tree. This is one of the variations of the binary tree. So you can identify that this is all same as we had seen previously. Only one node has been added extra into this. And this one node is called the header node. The basic job of this node is that the left pointer of the head is pointing towards the root. So sometimes you may need this header node to point towards the root. Sometimes you may use this dummy header node as a sentinel where the last values, instead of pointing towards the null pointer, they point back to the header node, just to tell you that this is the last node of the tree, and after that there is nothing, so it points back to the header node. So this could be used in several ways, but if this node is used, then this will be called as the header node, and this is one of the variations of the binary tree that you may use. The other is the threading concept. But why do we need threading? So one thing that you will observe over here is that my binaries were having a lot of null values, right? It were having a lot of null values. These null values were taking some extra spaces and they were not serving any purpose also. These nodes were not even telling me about the successor values, predecessor values, anything. These are simply memory spaces with no values at all. So there was no purpose at all. So one idea was that we can create the threads, or we can create the pointers, and the pointers is that you are pointing to the successor or the predecessor depending upon the type of value you are populating. So if you're populating a right child value of any node, then it is supposed to be a null value because it doesn't have a right child. So it can point back towards a node which comes after 9. So after 9 we have got 1, so it is pointing towards 1. Now this in-order traversal is something that I'll be talking about in the next video. So till then, just have patience and just assume that there is some in-order traversal which tells me about the successor and predecessor of the nodes, and therefore I can have the pointers pointing towards these nodes, right? These are called threads. Now one advantage for having the threads is that I'm utilizing my space null pointers with some pointers which are pointing toward a value which might be of interest to me. So now instead of backtracking from 9 to 5 to 2 and then going to 1, I can have a direct pointer that takes me to the 1. Fine. Similarly, at 10, I have got a direct pointer to go at 4. So I do not need stacks to keep a track of what all nodes I have traversed in order to backtrack. I can have a direct pointer which may take me towards the successor or the predecessor node. But again, there is a problem with this. The problem is that how would you identify that 11x is a node which has come at a higher level than this node? If you are having a value over here, it should be by general convention, it means that it has a right child. But no, it is not having a right child. It is pointing towards a node that is already there on the higher levels. Fine. So we have to make a distinction, and for that we can have certain tags added to the structure. And now this will be called as the right tag and this will be called as the left tag, right? So if these values are 1, that means that the pointer value, the address, is pointing towards the left child and the right child respectively. But if these values are 0, that means the address now is not pointing towards the left child, rather it is pointing towards a node which is at the higher levels than the current node. Alright, so this 11x is not pointing toward the right child, so I have added a left tag as 0. But if you are getting a 0 over here, then please understand that this address is not the address of the right child, but it is the address of the successor node. Similarly, if I am talking about 5x and there is a 0, that means it is talking about not the left child, but it is referring to the predecessor. So two-way threading is when your right child and left child both are pointing towards the predecessors and successors, and it is one-way threading if only right childs are pointing towards the successors. Still, you will see that these values towards the extreme left and the extreme right have still got a null pointer because they do not have a node to point to, because right pointer in the rightmost side will be pointing to a successor, but there is no value after 7, right? So it has to be a null value. And left addresses are pointing to the predecessor, and there is no predecessor of 4, therefore null values. So we can have a solution for them again with the variation that we have seen regarding the header nodes. So we can have an header node or a dummy node which points towards the root node, and this header node's information can be fed into the extreme left child, left address value, and extreme right child, right address value. So now instead of pointing towards the null, they will be coming back all the way towards the header node. So this is the way threads work. In the next lecture, I'll be discussing about the traversals. Thank you.